And hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the AAA Show here on ASTV Productions. I'm your host for this week's episode, Graeme Forsyth, filling in for Jared Down as he's currently on holidays. We got a lot in store for you guys in tonight's episode. It's a recap edition of the show, just recapping the past week of what happened in three AAA leagues that are covered here on the AAA Show: the Alberta Elite Hockey League, the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League, as well as the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. The AAA Show is brought to you by Southwest Terminal, TOVI Hockey, Wentworth AG, AETi, and Evolve Green for this week's edition of the show. And let's get right into it after this intro that's going to run for this week's edition of the AAA Show here on ASTV Productions. And we start off this week's edition of the show by looking at what happened in the past week here in the Alberta AAA Elite Hockey League, the Alberta Elite Hockey League U18 AAA League, and gonna share the screen here. Gonna do my best to not make it look too crappy for you guys. I know Jared always does a good job doing this, sharing the screen here, but this is what we're gonna roll with. Looking at the weekly recap here on November 6th on Saturday. We saw Southside, the BP Athletics, lose to the Grand Peace Ernie's Sports Storm team 5-2. We saw the Maple Leaf Beverly Optimists lose to the Leduc Woolhawk Jerky Oil Kings 5-3. The Fort Saskatchewan Straight Line Dodge Rangers won 2-1 in OT over the Okotoks Oilers. The Calgary Flames, the Calgary Northwest Flames, I guess we'll call it that, won 5-3 over the Canadian Greg Distributors. The Calgary Buffaloes won 6-3 over the Red Deer Optimist Chiefs. The Sherwood Park Ennis Kings won 4-3 over the St. Albert Nectar Raiders, and the Airdrie CFR Bisons won 6-5 over the Lloydminster Inland Steel Bobcats, 6-5 in OT, and the Calgary Royals won 6-3 over the Lethbridge Hurricanes in that game. And actually, I'm just going to go through it here. Obviously, you guys can see all the scores that are shown here, but I'm just going to point out the biggest games, the most impressive wins, I guess. We'll go with that. Looking at November 7th on Sunday, we saw the Okotoks Beaumark Oilers win 4-3 in overtime over the Leduc Oil Kings. A big win for the Calgary Buffaloes, 5-2 over the Lloydminster Inland Steel Bobcats. And we saw some shutouts as well in these games, 3-0 for the St. Albert Nectar Raiders over the Grand Peace Ernie Sports Storm team. The Calgary Northwest Flames won 1-0 over the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And look at this. I guess we'll just go through every score here. The Red Deer Optimist Chiefs lost to the Calgary North Stars 4-1. Airdrie ended up losing to the Canadian Greg Distributors 3-2. Southside, the BP Athletics with a big win, 3-1 over the Fort Saskatchewan Straight Line Dodge Rangers, who are the first place team in their respective division in that league. So a big win for Southside there. And the Sherwood Park Ennis Kings lost 5-4 to the Maple Leaf Beverly Optimists. So we're 2 days gone here. A lot of games were played this past weekend in the Alberta Elite Hockey League. Let's check out what happened to close out this past week in the league. We saw the Calgary Royals win 4-2 over the Calgary North Stars. Always great to see, if you're the Calgary Royals beating another team from Calgary 4-2. I'll always like to see that. Good for bragging rights for sure. Leduc, the Oil Kings, ended up winning 2-0 over the St. Albert Nectar Raiders to close out this past week's and weekend's action in the Alberta Elite Hockey League. So looking at the weekly recap in terms of the standings here, starting off with the North Division, the Fort Saskatchewan Straight Line Dodge Rangers, currently the number one team in that division with a 9-1-2 record. Of course, St. Albert, the Nectar Raiders, in second place with an 8-3-1 record. And then after that, there's even more separation, of course, a 3-point difference from the first place team, the Rangers, from the Raiders. And then after that, there's a 4-point difference in terms of the standings here. The Canadian Greg Distributors, along with the Maple Leaf Beverly Optimists. The Canadian Grig Distributors, they are 1 point up in third place over the Maple Leaf Beverly Optimists, and the Grand Peace Ernie Sports Storm. They are both tied at 12 points in that division. Below that, the Lloyd Minister Inland Steel Bobcats 1 point behind the Storm and the Optimists at 11 points with a 5-7-1 record. And then after that, we see Southside with 9 points with a 4-7-1 record. And then the Sherwood Park Ennis Kings 2-8-2 with 6 points. And we see the Leduc Wilhoke Jerky Oil Kings at 2-7-1 with 5 points, last place in that division, also with the least games played as well. So going to be interesting to see coming up in the next weekend/week of games to see what the Oil Kings are going to be able to do. Will they jump up in the standings? Going to be interesting to see that. But looking at the South Side division of things, a lot of shakeup in this division, I'm pretty sure. From the last time you guys watched the AAA show, the Calgary Northwest Flames are the number one team in that division with 15 points, 8-3-3 on the season so far. The Calgary Buffaloes 8-4-1 with 14 points. The Airdrie CFR Bisons at 13 points with a 7-3-2 record. The Lethbridge Hurricanes at a 6-4-1 record at 13 points. They're tied for third place in that division. The Calgary Royals in that fifth spot, I guess, with a 5-5-1 record, 8 points. The Calgary North Stars 4-5-2-1 with 7 points, also tied with the Okotoks Beaumark Oilers with a 4-6-1 record for the Oilers. Them and the North Stars both tied in terms of points. And then the Red Deer Optimist Chiefs with 1 win, 11 losses on the season. Good for 2 points, last place in that division. So, that was a bit stressful. I'm not gonna lie, just reading all these stats. Not too familiar with this league, as familiar with Jared is, but we're gonna roll with it, folks, and we're gonna continue here on the AAA show. Of course, this edition of the AAA show brought to you by the main sponsor, Southwest Terminal. We'll take a quick commercial break and be right back here on the AAA show to break down the past, recap the past games this weekend/week that were played in the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League. Coming up here on the AAA show, brought to you by Southwest Terminal here on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, Ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to the AAA Show here on ASTV Productions. Of course, you guys just heard from one of the sponsors in tonight's episode, and Evolve Green. Be sure to check them out on their website. They offer a lot of great stuff. If you want to go solar, Evolve Green is definitely the go-to brand to go with, the go-to company. But, of course, the AAA Show back here is brought to you by Southwest Terminal. I remembered this time to put on the Southwest Terminal logo here in the I guess to my right, but using my left hand here. Always funny just looking at it just with the mirror screen, not knowing if right is left or left is right, but I finally figured it out just now. So yeah, I always forget, but yeah, welcome back to the show, everybody. Of course, we just not broke down, but recap the past weekend/week of games that were played in the Alberta Elite Hockey League, the U18 league there in Alberta, and of course also showed you guys the standings in both the South Division and the North Division of that league. We're now going to move into a league that I'm more familiar with, the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League, and there were a lot of games played in this league here in the past weekend and week, and yeah, let's get to it here. So looking at it, we are going to share the screen here. So looking how I can do that. Yes, there we are. So starting off on November 4th, last Thursday, we saw the Regina Pack Canadians, who were, I believe, the number one team coming in to the past weekend/week of games. 7-0 win over the Moose Jaw Warriors, a strong start to their past week. We saw the Yorkton second Mullers. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. Don't quote me on that though, but 2-1 over the Notre Dame Hounds. We saw the Warman Wildcats in Friday's action take down the Tisdale Trojans 4-2, and we saw a close game between the Estevan Bears and Swift Current Legionnaires. 5-4 win for Estevan as they took it in a shootout. And I believe, yes, that was the only extra time game that went into overtime and into a shootout this past week in the Saskatchewan AAA Hockey League. Gotta check here if you guys can see the scores completely. Yes, you can, but I do need to show that complete logo in the corner there. Oh, let's see here. I am new to screen sharing something like this, so just gotta make it look pretty for you guys here. I think we got it. Nope, not completely. My apologies, folks. This will just be a moment. All right, we're gonna roll with that. That looks good enough there. Yeah, we're gonna roll with that, folks. Put it down just a bit. Okay, now let's get back to it. So on Saturday's action, there were a lot of games that were played in the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League, starting off with the Estevan Bears once again coming out with a 5-4 win over the Swift Current Legionnaires. Then we saw the Prince Albert Mintos with a punishing 7-1 win over the Tisdale Trojans. The Warman Wildcats tied for first in the league now. They had a 7-2 win over the Mullers, and then the Notre Dame Hounds beating who was the top team in the league and still is tied for first. We'll get in that later on in this part of the episode, but Notre Dame putting up a 1-0 shutout over the Regina Pats Canadians in that game. Looking at Sunday's action, we saw the Moose Jaw Warriors lose to the Saskatoon Blazers 4-3. The Saskatoon Contacts also had a win for themselves, winning 6-0 over the Maulers. And then on November 9th, which was on Tuesday, we saw the Saskatoon Contacts with an impressive 4-0 win over the Regina Pack Canadians. And then looking at the rest of the coverage that happened this past week, and most recently in November 11th, yesterday on Remembrance Day, but getting to the November 10th game on Wednesday, we saw the Warman Wildcats take care of business, winning 3-2 over the Notre Dame Hounds. And then 3 games on Remembrance Day, a great day for hockey there in Saskatchewan yesterday for this AAA league. We saw the Moose Jaw Warriors win 6-3 over the Swift Current Legionnaires. The Regina Pack Canadians winning in a close one over the Warman Wildcats in a battle of 2 top teams in the league, 2-1. And then the Saskatoon Contacts finishing off their impressive weekend/week with a 2-1 win over the Battleford Sharks. So let's take a look at how the standings are after the past weekend/week of games in the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League, the U18 League in Saskatchewan. The Regina Pack Canadians and the Warman Wildcats are now tied for first place. Regina with a slightly better record, but also 1 less game played at 17 games played so far this year. 14-2-0-1 for them, as they only have 1 overtime loss, 2 losses in regulation. The Warman Wildcats with 14 wins, 3 losses, and no ties, 1 overtime loss on the season. I guess there's no ties in this league, just looking at it, with them going to shootout to resolve things. So, the Notre Dame Hounds, after an impressive win against the Regina Pack Canadians, and after their week, they are 10-4-1. In third place, of course, the Prince Albert Mintos are at 9-4-1. They're currently at 19 points, 4th place in the league. The Saskatoon Blazers, the team with the least games played in the league this year, a team that I feel like, with all their talent, just looking at it, absolutely stacked with 06 players that are most likely going to go in the WHL draft, adding that they are going to have quite a few players that I could think could go in the top rounds this year in the WHL draft. We'll have to wait and see, but they are at 9-2 on the season so far. And then after that, we see Swift Current in 6th place with an 8-6-1 record. Moose Jaw, the Warriors, they are 8-5-0 with 16 points in 7th place. The Saskatoon Contacts are 6-5-0-3 with 15 points in the league. The Estevan Bears 5-9-4 with 14 points, good enough to make them 9th place in the league. The Battleford Stars, they are 3-9-2 with 8 points, making them 10th in the league. The Yorkton second. Maulers are 2-13-2. My apologies, with 6 points. They are 11th in the league. And then, of course, the Tisdale Trojans are 1-10-1 with 3 points, last place in the league. So, yeah, a lot of competitive teams this year in the league, but the teams that really stand out so far have to be the Regina Pack Canadians and the Warman Wildcats, both with 29 points. They both played each other. We're going to go back to that matchup for a second here. Looking at it, I believe that matchup ended up happening on yesterday, November 11th. Yes, yesterday on November 11th, as you guys can see here. Let's zoom into it for you guys to highlight it. We're going to scroll across the screen here. The Regina Pack Canadians, yes, with the 2-1 win over them, as mentioned earlier in this segment, in this part of the episode. So, yeah, a huge win for the Regina Pack Canadians to, end up being tied with them, because if they didn't win that game, the Warman Wildcats would have been 4 points up with them, and they would have been the team alone in first place in the league. But nope, it is both the Regina Pack Canadians and Warman Wildcats, both with 14 wins, tied for first in the standings right now in the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League. So feel like I'm getting a bit better as the show is going along with just recapping it for you guys, recapping the past week and weekend of games that were played in these AAA leagues. Of course, showing you guys the standings as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about a league from my home province here. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. The Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. We're going to talk about recap the past weekend and week of games that were played in that league. Coming up here on the AAA Show, brought to you by Southwest Terminal here on ASTV Productions. Stick around after this commercial break for more coverage here on the AAA Show on ASTV Productions.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And welcome back to the AAA Show here on ASTV Productions, everybody. This week's edition of the show brought to you by, as you saw, first off, Evolve Green, Wentworth AG, as well as TOVI Hockey, and the main sponsor, the official sponsor of the show in Southwest Terminal. Let's get the logo up here. Yep, there we go. Southwest Terminal. As you do see, I do got to figure it out now in the right side corner. Actually, I guess it is to my right here on the screen, yes, but to my left, I am pointing, still kind of figuring that out, right? But yeah, welcome back to the show, everybody. We've talked about the Alberta Elite Hockey League, the U18 AAA Hockey League in Alberta there, as well as the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League. And now we're going to dive into the league from my home province here in Manitoba, as I am from Winnipeg. Just looking at the past weekend and week of games, the scores that happened in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. So let's get started here. Looking at it, just got to make sure we got this all lined up for you guys. That's the best we're gonna get, unfortunately. Like I said, I know main host of the show, the host who usually hosts the show, as you guys know, Jared Down, does a very good job with his making the graphics look clean. They do look clean. These are his graphics. He sent me the layout and everything. I just had to put in the scores and update the standings, and also stay tuned for the 3 stars of this week from the AAA leagues here that are covered on the show. But yeah, Jared usually doing a very good job of making the presentation a bit cleaner so you guys don't see, the OneDrive.live.com thing in the search bar up top. Also, the scrolling bar here to scroll up and down, right? But yeah, getting into it on November 5th, this past Friday, last week, 7 days ago from where we're at tonight. There was only one game, the Winnipeg Thrashers winning in a close one, 6-5 in overtime over Interlake. And then on Saturday, it was a full slot of games, 5 games that were played. Parkland losing to the Winnipeg Wild. My bad there. I highlighted Parkland, but yeah, the Winnipeg Wild taking that game 5-2. Southwest, once again, I highlighted them. My bad, everybody. But they ended up losing to the Winnipeg Bruins. The Winnipeg Thrashers, there we go. I highlighted them as the bold team, as they were the team that won 4-2 over Interlake. Norman winning 6-2 over Yellowhead, and I did it again. Kenora, they are highlighted, but they ended up losing to Pembina Valley 4-1. Looking at the other games that happened, looking at the Sunday matchups, there were 4 games, 4 teams were in action. There we go. I got it right there by highlighting these teams this time around. Pembina Valley taking that second game of the weekend and their final game of that weekend series against Kenora, 4-2. Parkland, nope, just kidding. I didn't highlight all the right teams there. In fact, I got 2 wrong there. My bad, folks. Parkland losing to the Winnipeg Wild 5-4 in overtime. The Winnipeg Bruins losing 5-6, 6-5 win for Southwest, and the Yellowhead Chiefs winning 3-2 in overtime over the Norman North Stars. And then looking at Tuesday on November 9th, there was only one game that was played, and that was the top team in the league, the Brandon Wheat Kings, taking down Parkland 6-2. And then looking at the final matchups of this past week in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League, or the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League, we saw the Pembina Valley Hawks. It's Pembina Valley. Pembina Valley. Let's put it that way. Pembina Valley losing that game against the Southwest team 4-3, and then the Winnipeg Bruins winning 6-2 over Interlake to close things out for this past week and weekend of games in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. Now, looking at the standings, Brandon is now tied with the Winnipeg Wild for first place in the league. Of course, Winnipeg, the Wild, having a strong weekend of games. They ended up, going to 13-0-1 on the season. Of course, Brandon, with their win, they went to 13-0-1 as well on the season. Both of those teams tied for first place in the league with 27 points apiece. Eastman is at 22 points now. They are 11-5. Southwest, I guess Eastman stayed at 11-5. Just got to look back at it. Looking at the games here. Let's see. Yes, I believe Eastman did not play any games. Yes, so Eastman ends up staying in third place with an 11-5 record there, 22 points. Southwest, they are tied for third place with a 10-2 record. Both of those teams at 22 points. The Winnipeg Thrashers and Winnipeg Bruins, only 1 point separating themselves. The Thrashers at 9-6-1 on the season. The Bruins at 8-6-2. Of course, the Thrashers with 19 points and the Bruins with 18 points on the season. Parkland with a 6-7-2 record. They're at 14 points. They're tied with the Yellowhead Chiefs, who have a 6-8-2 record. Of course, Yellowhead playing one more game than they have so far this season at a 6-8-2 record. So they are both at 14 points. Pembina Valley is 2 points below those teams with a 5-6-2 record, although be it taken into account that they have played the least games in the league so far at 13 games. So looking at it, once they make up games, it'll be interesting to see if they'll make up for points that they don't have so far, and maybe they'll jump further into the standings, higher into the standings, higher up. Interlake, they are at 4-10-3 with 11 points. The Norman North Stars, they are at 4-10-1 with 9 points, and then after that, there's a big drop off between Norman and the Kenora Thistles, who after they suffered 2 losses to the Pembina Valley team. Pembina Valley, they are 1-13 with 2 points, and of course Central Plains not playing games this season. They have 0 games played, as you guys know, and no wins, no losses, no ties, and 0 points on the season. So we're going to go to another commercial break here in this edition of the AAA Show on ASTV Productions, our main sponsor, brought to you by Southwest Terminal. When we come back, I'm going to end off the show by giving you guys the 3 stars of the week in the AAA leagues here in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, picking one player from each of those leagues. I feel like that only seemed right, and that's what I think Jared has been doing, at least from the copy that he sent me of the layout of the graphics that he has. So I just rolled with that. So yeah, coming up after the break, we're going to have the 3 stars of the week in the AAA leagues for you guys coming up here on the AAA Show. And then, of course, for myself, I'm going to close off this edition of the show here on ASTV Productions. Stick with us after the break for more coverage here on this week's edition of the AAA Show on ASTV Productions. And welcome back to the AAA Show here on ASTV Productions, brought to you by the main sponsor, of course, Southwest Terminal. You guys just saw a commercial from AETi, another great sponsor that sponsors our shows here on the network. And yeah, getting some clarification, and I know you guys know this already, but it is the Pembina Valley Hawks. I just had a brain fart there, and man, we've been slugging away in this edition of the show. Jared will be back, I believe, for next week's edition of the show. So, hope he's enjoying his vacation now right now with his family, as he is in California at this very moment. That's why I'm filling in for this week's edition of the show. Just gotta take a sip of water and we'll continue here. So not much more to talk about. Gonna give the 3 stars of the week, as well as, closing off this week's edition of the show. So let's get into it. The 3 stars of the week here on the AAA Show. Looking at it and hope that is not what I wanted you guys to see. We gotta get it here. There we go. Yep, the AAA Show, 3 stars of the week here. Of course, on ASTV Productions. And let's get into it. Who I felt are the 3 stars of this week from just the stats I saw. Starting off with Cade John. My apologies if I don't pronounce that entirely correctly, but Cade, with 3 games played, he put up a lot of offense, some good numbers in Leduc's games this past weekend for them. And yeah, looking at it, he had 1 goal, 4 assists, good for 5 points in 3 games played, good enough to make him the 3rd star of the week. The 2nd star of the week, goaltender for the Saskatoon Contacts in the Saskatchewan male AAA League, Chase Wetsky. 2 games played. He had 2 wins, no losses. He only played in 2 games, of course, and Saskatoon ended up winning all of their games. He had a shutout, and even though he didn't face a lot of shots, seemed like he was very good on almost every one of them, because he only let up 1 goal on 39 shots, making 38 saves. So congratulations to you, Mr. Woodsky, if you're or Wutsky, if you're watching this episode. Congratulations on the big performance you gave this past week for your team. And going to the Norman North Stars, guy that really helped his team have success this past weekend/week was Brady Krentz. 2 games played. He ended up having 1 goal, 6 assists. He ended up being the named player of the week in the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. So, even though his team only won 1 game against Yellowhead this past weekend, definitely a big performance from him, scoring a goal and really helping out his team by putting that puck on their tape with 6 assists. Good enough to make him the 1st star of the week here on the AAA Show. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the AAA Show. A recap this week. Weren't able to get any coaches on, so we just went with the recap for this edition of the show this week. And yeah, had a lot of fun. This was my first time doing something like this. I usually have interviews in my shows. Just recapping, had to sort some things out as things went along, as you guys saw, just trying to get the graphics in the right places. But Jared will be back next week on the show to have that all sorted out, to make it look nice and clean. Just the way the graphics pop up on the screen. So yeah, special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into this week's edition of the AAA Show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And it's going to be another great weekend/week of games that are going to be played here in all AAA leagues, the Alberta Elite Hockey League, as well as the Saskatchewan U18 AAA Hockey League, the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League, and the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. Of course, Jared will be back next week, I'm sure, to give you guys a recap of the games that happened coming up in the next little while, in the next weekend/week in those AAA leagues, as well as I'm pretty sure he's going to have some interviews for you guys. He's going to have some guests on, so stay tuned for that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure how Jared is going to conduct the show next week, but yeah, special thanks to you once again, the viewer, for tuning in to this week's edition of the show. Special thanks to our official sponsor of this show, the AAA Show in Southwest Terminal, for sponsoring it, along with our other sponsors in Wentworth AG, TOVI Hockey, Evolve Green, and AETi. ASTV Productions, I do want to let you guys know we will be in Pilot Mound this weekend. Me, along with Seth Rock. He is the 3rd man on our broadcast crew here on ASTV Productions in our Manitoba region. Of course, Cody Wall is color commentator for us usually, but he will not be with us. He'll be absent this weekend. He's got a big move to do, so Cody, you got to take care of business there. But for you Saskatchewan viewers, of course, with this show being based, of course, we cover Manitoba, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. But I know Jared, being from Saskatchewan, he usually is going to be doing color commentating for the Swift Current Wildcats games this year. Of course, with him being away in California, he's not going to be color commentating the games this weekend, but there's going to be 2 games coming up this week for the Swift Current Wildcats and the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA League, both at home against the Battleford Sharks. You can catch not only Swift Current games this weekend on the network, but you guys can also catch the games that I'll be covering, the games I'll be doing play-by-play for from Pollitt Mountain, Manitoba, Blackjack Stewart Arena. You guys can cover you guys can watch all of those games on our network on ASTV Productions, whether that be on our website at astvproductions.com, on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our Twitter at Amateur Sports TV, on our YouTube as well at Amateur Sports TV. But anywhere you guys find our broadcast, you guys can watch this weekend's games here on the network. And I got to mention as well, if you guys love AAA hockey, there's going to be a great matchup coming up here in Manitoba and Morden, Manitoba, between the Pembina Valley Hawks, another team we covered here on the network, another team that we broadcast for, going up against one of the top teams in the league in the Yellowhead Chiefs. But yeah, just thought I'd let you guys know, if you guys want to catch some great amateur sports coverage, some great amateur hockey this weekend, be sure to check out all those games on our network here on ASTV Productions. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of the AAA Show, folks. I've been your host, filling in for Jared Down, Graeme Forsyth, hoping to do better next time. Until next week, when Jared is going to be bringing you guys the next edition of this show, have a wonderful rest of your Friday night. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. And until next time, folks, until the future, I might see you again here on the AAA Show. But signing off now, Graeme Forsyth. Have a good one, everybody. Peace.